Guruve Gaura Chanjaya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dhanyavad Pranam devotees. So, couple of things. One is, I am catching up on some question and answers that were a little bit outstanding. And at the same time, I saw that there were a number of inquiries that came in and were dealt with in other sessions like this. So I kind of just compiled and summarized a lot of the questions that came in. So a good deal of this is exactly what the title is saying, which is short answers to occasionally what came about as long questions, right? Not all the questions here are long, but it's short answers and long questions. I just was joking to some degree. But yeah, in many cases, it's things that I've dealt with before, or things which I'm answering in a synopsis form here because it was a relatively, short question, like what is this or what is that? So without further ado, at the top, it speaks about something that I did deal with on a previous tape, and that was, the devotee says, you mentioned before that if one previously had guru and that guru fell, that guru fell, that one needs to take reinitiation. But isn't it written that one, if their guru was in good standing, my gosh, I said I wasn't going to read these long. If one's guru was in good standing at the time, that there is no need to take reinitiation. So I'm not going to read all the questions like that because, I have them kind of summarized, but I think I just copied and pasted this particular question as it was. So I did answer this on a previous video. In short, again, these are supposed to be short answers to questions. So in short, there are many factors that are there. One is if there was some deviation in the behavior of Sri Guru. Hari Bhakti Vilas has given recommendation that one should humbly approach Sri Guru and seek out reconciliation and rectification in that behavior. So reconciling means in the lieu of that behavior being rectified, one can then reconcile one's faith again, because the essential thing here is faith. Faith is our currency in bhakti. And when that faith is deposited somewhere, it needs to be that where that faith is deposited is secure. And also, in a more mature sense of our practice, the dhyan means the meditation on Guru can't be corrupted by the influence of apparent deviation from the standard. You understand? Because there will be no way to have appropriate meditation or to synthesize one's meditation with the practice. For instance, we sing Guru Ashtakam each morning, and there are many things in that Guru Ashtakam which we apply in the position of sishyas or disciples to our Guru Padapadma. Part of that is for our own growth in relating to the principle of Guru, Akhanda Guru Tattva. And if it is completely and absolutely related to the status of our Guru, it is also synthesized with that actual status. My Guru Padapadma told me once on a morning walk, this was in Houston, Texas, I asked the question, should every disciple see that their Guru is Nitya Siddha, eternal associate? My Gurudev said, for the disciple, they should see whether it is a fact or not. Because in this way, there's no corruption, I understood later, in the dhyan or in the meditation of Guru when we're singing Guru Ashtakam or Guru Vandanam, right? Because so many of these prayers of our acharyas, deal with Guru from a certain perspective. And we're trying to enhance our growth in bhakti by meditation on our Vyasti Guru, means our individual manifestation of Guru according to these qualities. So if there has been deviation, then the corruption of that activity may have some adverse effect on the reposing of faith for one, and for two, certainly on the dhyan of Sri Guru, which appears not only in our practice like in Guru Vandanam and Guru Ashtakam, but also in chanting our Diksha mantras. Because in the second iteration of the Diksha mantra, obviously you're chanting Guru mantra and Guru Gayatri. And there's a meditation that's inherent in that. So that cannot become corrupted and therefore have adverse effects on the faith. So yeah, Hari Bhakti Vilas recommends, if the case is that one's faith has become corrupted or disturbed and cannot be reconciled, even having gone through the previous process, then it's encouraged that one should find a genuine Vaishnav Guru and Purnar Vidhi Sabhyam. Again, one should take initiation from that Vaishnav in whom one's faith can now be fully reposed. But a lot of this is also avoided by what is called mutual pariksha. Pariksha means examination. So Hari Bhakti Vilas recommends disciple and guru should have a chance to associate for 1 year at least to have an understanding of the qualities of both. Because it may not be a suitable match, the disciple may not truly be ready, the guru may not be genuinely in a position to accept disciples according to any category of guru, whether it be Sastra Yukti Suni Punya, or whether one is actually Nitya Siddha descending to this world. They may not be invested with those qualities. And guru-disciple relationship is not born of ecclesiastical arrangement. Srila Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha directly addressed this, and our Srila Prabhupada in Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 1, text 35, in the purport, quotes that saying of Jiva Goswami from Bhakti Sandarbha: one should not accept initiation based on hereditary, customary, social, or ecclesiastical considerations, which means there should not be an institutional regulation on how you accept initiation. Now, I understand that in any institution, they want to try to keep a standard. And in other words, if everybody's just giving initiation whimsically, then there's no way to check that standard. But the proper way to accomplish that would be to follow the recommendations of Hari Bhakti Vilas, allow mutual examination for 1 year, and also make a good part of the teaching of Bhakti the true understanding of Guru Tattva. Because if an aspiring devotee has had the chance to hear Guru Tattva and then is having association with a particular Vaishnav in aspiration of taking initiation, then they'll have a basis for that mutual examination. And they should be able to ask relevant questions. It should not be that there's either social pressure or social even impetus for taking initiation for someone. Well, there's a lot of people and everybody seems groovy, so to speak, with that person. So no, so we shouldn't do like that. Actually, the relationship between guru and disciple is a very deep thing. Srila Rupa Goswami Pad has described, it's supposed to be short answers. I don't know how I'm extending it this long. But Rupa Goswami's recommended Guru Padasraya. Study deeply what this means. Tata Diksha Shikshadi. What is Diksha? What is Shiksha? We should understand the meanings. And of course, Vishrambena Guru Seva. Because in approaching Guru, accepting initiation, receiving Shiksha, it should lead to a heart mood called Vishramba. And the Seva to Guru, the Dhyan to Guru, will all be born of that deep mood of Vishramba Seva. All right. Shorter question. Why is it that in the Gaudiya Math, ladies do not chant Brahma Gayatri, but they chant the other mantras? And our Srila Prabhupada, of course, did give Brahma Gayatri to ladies. So what is the difference? Yeah, I paraphrase that last part. She's asking something else as well. But that's the gist of the question. So, we should understand that the Gayatri mantras, they serve the function of giving relationship to Harinam. Harinam is directly Radha and Krishna. Yugu and Mahaprabhu. So Abhinatam Nama Namyo. So the name and Radha Krishna Yuga Mahaprabhu are not different. But to realize that and to realize a relationship with Radha Krishna Mahaprabhu, it requires the potency inherent in the Diksha mantras. Well, the next question will be, doesn't Harinam also do that? Yes, Harinam is revealing itself, but from the point of view or perspective of the aspirant, there should be the unfolding of a relationship with Harinam. That's done by the Diksha mantras. Jiva Goswami Pad has mentioned again in Bhakti Sandhava, Adivya Gyanam Hyanta Shimanti Mantre, Bhagavad Surup Gyanam Tena, Bhagavad Sambandha Visesh Gyanamscha. So he's describing what is the effects of the chanting of the Diksha mantras. Diksha is two processes. Diyate Param Gyanam, Chiyate Papanasanam. It is the giving of Dibya Gyan and the potency to remove all obstacles. Chiyate Papanasanam. The culmination of obstacles comes out as pop or sinful activity, things which are completely adverse to bhakti. To remove the tendency of those things, the necessity of the potency of taking shelter of Guru, especially in the form of Diksha, is done. So Dibya Gyan, that section of Diksha, is described in the verse I just quoted. So in the Diksha mantras is the Visesh Sambandha Gyan, meaning the particular relationship with a particular form of Bhagavan that's inherent in that mantra. And by gradual process of bhajan life and deep absorption in the mantra, this is why I said the dhyan of the mantra is very important, because it's inclusive of Guru mantra and Guru Gayatri. You understand? So that dhyan is very important. So by this process, then revelation of how to practice with this Sambandha Gyan is then infused in the aspirant. So then when they're doing their seva, they have a Sambandha Gyan given by Guru, right? And that Sambandha Gyan is what matures and goes through the stages and then becomes realized in Bhav. Understand? So why ladies do not chant Brahma Gayatri is because essentially the Brahma Gayatri is not really different from Kam Gayatri. You understand? So in the Padma Purana it is told that the Brahma Gayatri, just like the personified Vedas, they prayed to become gopis, to serve Krishna. You see this in Srimad Bhagavatam. Similarly, the Veda Mata, Gayatri, prayed to become a gopi. The form that Brahma Gayatri then took is called Kam Gayatri. Therefore, if you look in Chaitanya Charitamrita, obviously I'm not explaining the Rahasya of Kam Gayatri here, but in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Madhya Lila chapter 8, Ramananda Samvad, it explains, Vrindavane aprakrita navina madan, Kam Bij, Kam Gayatri, Yan Rupasan. For the particular type of worship of Radha and Krishna, this Kam Bij and the Kam Gayatri, if you have Diksha, you'll know what the Bij and the Gayatri is. This Kam Bij and Kam Gayatri is the means of Upasan for that worship. So that same Brahma Gayatri in its mature form is Kam Gayatri. Another thing is that my Guru Padma told the Brahma Gayatri mantra is to help to break Purush Abhiman. So in the natural psychology of males and females, of course, in the Kali Yuga, there's a prominence of Purush Bhav in everyone. Right? Purush Bhav means the idea of being the enjoyer. But particularly in the male psyche, the idea of being the enjoyer, especially of the feminine nature, is a prominent part of the male psyche. To break that Purush Abhiman, Brahma Gayatri is also used for that. You understand? So my Guru Padma told, he was speaking to try to give some understanding that in ladies in the natural psyche, this Purush Abhiman means the male mood of enjoyment is not prominent. Of course, in Kali Yuga, Gurudev also went on to explain everybody, regardless of form, has some dominance of Purush Bhav, right? The mood of an enjoyer. But there was customary also in Vedic culture that ladies did not recite Vedic mantra, right? So in this way, all of the things that are fulfilled in the Brahma Gayatri mantra are absolutely fulfilled in Kam Gayatri. What is the difference between the practices? This is part of the same person is writing this question regarding the Gaudiya Math and Al Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON. And they're asking, why is it that in Gaudiya Math, so many bhajans? I attended a program. Let me just read it. I attended a program, and then I see in Gaudiya Math temples, they sing so many different bhajans besides the Mahamantra. And Al Srila Prabhupada gave emphasis to Mahamantra. So that's the gist of the question. So really, if you look very carefully, in Gaudiya Math, there's not a difference. Emphasis is given to Harinam, to the effect that in Nam Jap, the standard of chanting is 1 lakh of Harinam, which means 64 rounds. Certainly in every single aspect of the worship, Nam is present as the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The bhajans that are sung in the Math are generally ways to enhance the mood of service. So there's many different moods inherent in serving. The mood of developing humility, akshay, the mood of aspiration, lalashmai. So all these moods are inherent in various bhajans given by our acharyas. So in Gaudiya Math, the standard was that these bhajans would be given great attention because it allows the pure expressions of all of these moods to, by the mercy of those acharyas who wrote the bhajan, to become available to aspirants on the path who don't have the inner realization to express such feelings. Therefore, through the mercy or kripa of these Vaishnava acharyas who wrote these bhajans, they can give proper vent to their aspiration. The aspirant I'm talking about can give proper vent to their aspiration through bona fide bhajans that don't contain rasabas or any opposidantic ideas, etc. You understand? Because if we're writing ourselves, we may write something that is opposidantic, it may be rasabas, and therefore it will not be pleasing to Krishna, so it will not be anukul seva. So by taking shelter of these bhajans and making a habit of singing them and imbibing them in your heart, those moods which are part of our aspiration of service can become manifest. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gopinath, Mamo Nivedana Shuno. So like this, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is praying for the mercy of Sri Gopinath. So we may not be able to write expertly like that, but taking shelter of this mood, then we can have aspiration. Similarly, O He Vaishnav Thakur, Ekaki Amar Nahi Pai Bal, Tomara Sakatiyache, no, Ekaki Amar Nahi Pai Bol, Harinama Sankirtane. Krishna say to Ma, Krishna Dati Paro, Tomara Sakatiyache. Ami tu Kangal Krishna Krishna Boli, Daya Tava Pache Pache. So here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning, I have Harinam, I'm chanting, but I still don't find within myself the strength to obtain Krishna. But oh Vaishnav Thakur, you have Krishna. Krishna say to Ma, Krishna Diti Paro, and you have the power to give Krishna to others. So Ami tu Kangal, abandoning my self-endeavor, I'm like a madman running after you to get your mercy. So all these kind of deep expressions of moods are so favorable to our growth in bhajan. So we take shelter of these bhajans and practice singing them and imbibing them in our heart to develop the proper impetus of mood in serving. So Al Srila Prabhupada also had a whole bunch of bhajans that he personally sang on various recordings. And also obviously we have, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, blessing Sri Achyutananda Prabhu, to compile all of these in our Vaishnav songbook. So it's not like Srila Prabhupada did not give emphasis to bhajans. It may be that devotees are not practicing according to what Srila Prabhupada gave in that regard. So there's not really a difference per se. It's a matter of application from one sangha or institution to another. This is someone else asking a question. They're asking regarding the pastime of Krishna and Arjuna going to the abode of Mahavishnu. And Mahavishnu is wanting them to return. But Mahavishnu states that you are my parts, that you are my own ounces, or something like that he's writing. I can't really make out distinctly what he's trying to say here. But why, if, the question here, the bottom line question is, why if Krishna himself is Mahavishnu, why would Mahavishnu be enchanted, or this I'm paraphrasing here, by seeing Krishna? Because it's his own self. So, Krishna in Tattva Gata Vichar, the word Tattva Gata Vichar means, according to Siddhant, according to philosophical considerations. Hold on one second. According to philosophical considerations, then certainly Krishna, Vishnu, all the forms of Narayan, all the various incarnations like Sri Ramachandraji, Varaha, Narsimha, etc., they're all one reality. But according to Rasa Gata Vichar, means according to the mood of Rasa, or taste. Rasa means like taste, but here the meaning is the particular form of Bhagavan is inherent with a particular mood in which an aspirant serves that particular form. In regards to that consideration, then Krishna, not only is he in Tattva Swayam Bhagavan, but he's considered to be the pinnacle of Rasa. Akila Rasamrita Murti. He is himself the pinnacle of Rasa. The first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam gives this statement. Janmadhya Shayata Anvya Itarachascha Arteshu Avigya Swarat. That Krishna himself is Swarat. He's the independent, absolute end of all causes, as far as there's no cause beyond him. Just like in Brahma Samhita, Sava Karana Karanam. In that position, he is Abhigya, means he is the connoisseur. He is the conscious objective of all kinds of ras. So we know of 12 primary rasas, 5 main rasas, 7 secondary rasas. Well, Krishna is the object of all of those rasa. Right? A rasa ultimately manifests when we obtain realization as a sthai bhav. And Rupa Goswami has written a definition of a sthai bhav. Sthai bhav utra saprokta Sri Krishna Vishayani Rati. The object of a sthai bhav is Sri Krishna. So Krishna is Akila Rasamrita Murti. Therefore, Jiva Goswami wrote, he is asadharana. He's uncommon among all the forms of God, including the Paravasta forms of God. There are 3 forms which are called Paravasta. Narasimhadev, Ramachandra, and Sri Krishna. They are called Paravasta or Sad Aishwarya Purna. Means they're absolutely complete with the 6 opulences, but in the highest degree. All forms of Bhagavan have 6 opulences, but here it says in the highest degree. But Jiva Goswami, and it's quoted in Madhurya Kandamini of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur part, states, Bhagavat Stavad Asadharana Aishwarya Madhurya Tattva Visesh Swarup Paramananda. That Krishna is asadharan even in the category of Bhagavan. In the category of God, he's uncommon. Because he is the pinnacle of all kinds of ras. And in that regard, even other forms of Bhagavan, they also have attraction to that form of himself. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think it's in Adi Lila chapter 4, I think verse 146, because we were going over it last night. What is the verse? Aparakalita Puravakas Chamatkarakari. Spurati Mama Gharyan Esha Madhurya Purya. Ayamaham Api Hanta Preksha Yam Lapta Chaita. Sarabhasam Upabhoktam Radhika Eva. Krishna was once in Dwarka, and Dwarka is called also Virohe Kshetra. It means it is the place where Krishna experiences a deep mood of separation from Brijavasi. It is called Sudura Pravas, a deep mood of separation accomplished by being at a distant place for a long period of time and coming under the control of others. So while in Dwarka, all 3 of these criteria are met, and therefore Krishna suffers a kind of separation, as well as the Brijavasis, of Krishna's being there in Dwarka. While Krishna is absorbed in these moods of separation, he has remembrance of his pastimes in Braj. So it's quoted from Lalit Madhav. I actually was looking last night. Lalit Madhav would be Dagda Madhav because I looked at the reference in Lalit Madhav I did not see. I will look again today. But anyway, in this verse, it's described that Krishna was once in Dwarka and he passed a crystal pillar. And in that crystal pillar, he saw his own reflection and uttered this verse. What is the meaning here? Oh, aparakalita yas chamatkarakari. Chamatkara means astonishment, wonder. So Dwarkadish Krishna, absorbed in the mood of separation as Rajendra Nandan Krishna, sees the beauty of Rajendra Nandan Krishna in this pillar and recites, what chamatkar, wonder is it, the beauty of this form. Spurati mamma madurja ishapura. Virtually this form is a literal stan, means like a place of all kinds of sweetness. In other words, this form is itself the embodiment, manifestation of all kinds of sweetness. I myself, ayamaham hanta. This word hanta means like, it's an emotional expression, like, alas, like, aho. You hear statements like this, aho, or Allah, or hanta. It means, how amazing. Ahamayam hanta. Preksha, seeing this form. Labda chitta. Labda chitta means impetuous, like without controlling. Even without controlling, my mind develops such attraction to this form. And sarabhasam upabhuktam. I have an intense desire to enjoy Radhika Eva, like Radhika enjoys this form. So Dwarkadish Krishna, seeing the form of Shamsundar Krishna in the pillar while remembering Braj, became overwhelmed, chamatkar, by the beauty of that form. It's also described elsewhere. Gopaskim tapa acharan aburamusharupam lavanyasaram asamudvam ananyasidim. This form of Krishna is lavanyasara. It is the essence of all beauty. Asam Urdvam. There's no way to compare to it, what to speak of exceeded. So the nature of Krishna's form is so charming that even Vishnu himself was attracted to seeing that form. What to speak of Vishnu? Even Dwarkadish Krishna, other forms of Bhagavan are all attracted by this form. Therefore, this Shamsundar Roop is Swayam Roop. It is the original form. So all beauty manifested in the other form is all coming from Swayam Krishna. Ramani Mutishu Kalanyamenatistam. Nanavataram Akaro Bhuvaneshu Kintu. Krishna Swayam Sambhavat Paramamonyo Govindamari Purusham Tamamaji. This Govinda Shamsundar, he is the Swayam Roop of all the other forms. And therefore the pinnacle of all everything, all Aishwarya Purna, but also all sweetness, Madhurya, is enhanced in an asadhara, an uncommon way in this form, which is attractive even to other forms of Bhagavan. So then what to speak of any jiva? If the form is attractive to Bhagavan, who's the source of attraction to all jivas, what to speak of other jivas? What to speak of jivas, rather? If it's attractive to Bhagavan, what to speak of the jiva? How attractive this form of Shamsundar is. Understand? All right, maybe I'll take one more because I have some services to do. Let me open the phone again. Is it that our perfection will be given by Guru and we should only try to follow, what is this? We should only try to just follow the principles of bhakti, and Guru will give us our perfection at the appropriate time. Because isn't everything dependent on Guru Kripa? So there's a little bit of flushing out that would need to be done with the statement. It is a fact that Guru Kripa, which is the Kripa of Krishna, because Brahmanda Brahmati Kona Bhagwan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasad Bhai Bhakti Latavij. the prasad of mercy is of Guru and Krishna. So Guru is the vehicle of carrying Krishna's mercy, right? I quoted this verse many times. Paramasvatantra Bhagavad Bhakta Jatta Kripa Mangaladaya. The Mangala Kripa or mercy of Krishna is carried by the Paramasvatantra Bhagavad Bhakta. Understand? So the devotee is the carrier of the mercy of Krishna. So certainly everything is ultimately dependent on mercy. There's no doubt about this. But endeavor also has to be there. In the commentary on Damodar Bandhan Lila, the binding of Krishna to a grinding mortar, when the rope would come up 2 fingers too short, our acharyas have given an analysis that 2 things are indicated here. One is that without the kripa of Bhagavan, hence Bhagavan's mercy through the Vaishnavas, nothing can be accomplished. But also without endeavor on our part, nothing can be accomplished. So one has to have, the essence of endeavor is desire. So remember this, the essence of endeavor is desire. So we have to have deep desire to obtain perfection, and then the endeavors that we perform are rooted in that desire. And the manifested subsidy of that kripa is called, in the beginning, Shraddha. That Shraddha becomes the currency by which bhakti moves forward. So that Shraddha goes from Ado Shraddha, it means a introduction to the principle of seeking bhakti, all the way to Shraddha Shabde Vishwash Kahe Sudrida Nishchoye Krishna Bhakti Kaila Savakam Krita, to the perspective that this Shraddha is absolute. The word Vishwash is very interesting. Shwash. So the V here indicates a specific mood. Swash means, one meaning is, there's many meanings, it means faith, trust, so many, but one meaning is to breathe. So the kind of faith one has, because the next breath is not guaranteed, but the kind of faith you have in Bhagavan, oh Bhagavan, my next breath only by your mercy is coming. One should have that kind of faith in Krishna, because without breathing there's no life, and therefore Bhagavan is our everything. He is our life, our soul, everything. Of course, through Srimati Radhika. So, is our everything. Therefore, Vishwash here in this Shraddha Shabde, Vishwash Kohe. By the word Shraddha, Kohe, we mean to say a Vishwash, a feeling that's like I have complete faith that my only next breath will come from Krishna. Having that kind of faith that everything, Krishna Bhakti Koili, Savakam Krita, everything is also coming from Krishna. There is no other refuge, no other resource than Krishna. This is also the meaning in Saranagati, Rakshashiti Vishwash, Goptrave Varanam Tata. Understand? So this is a deep kind of called Paramaptik Shraddha, means realized Shraddha. Understand? So we should follow the process, but we have to follow the process with mood. Other than that, it will become Niyamagraha or Anustanic practice. Niyamagraha and Anustanic mean ritualistic practice. So you have to have application of mood, endeavor, desire. Sri Rupa Goswami kind of couched them as Utsahan Nischayat Daryat, enthusiasm, patience, and confidence. Those 3 things are born of a mood. Enthusiastic about what? Having patience related to what? Having determination related to what? So it's to the desire to practice to get the kripa of Sri Guru and Bhagavan. You understand? So endeavor is also needed. As far as Guru giving perfection, the perfection of a jiva comes from the unfoldment of a ruchi acquired from a sadhu in a particular life. This is directly what is mentioned in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Rupa Goswami Pad. Right? He quotes one verse. I'm not remembering the verse offhand. But first he gives an analysis of the various kinds of rasa. And then he says, Yatotaram. Yatotaram means, by analyzing these various rasas, if we did it from a neutral perspective, we will see that the Adiras or Shringharas, apparently is superior in taste to others. This is not to say that the individual ras realized by any Vaishnava according to their ruchi is not absolutely fulfilling to that Vaishnava. So it says, this analysis can only be taken from tatastha vichar, meaning from a neutral position. Being embedded in a particular ras, that rasa is all-encompassing for that devotee. But then the question becomes, if this is the fact that if we see progressively that the madhurya rasa, shringara rasa, is higher from a neutral perspective in taste, then how is it that one has decided what kind of taste or ruchi a particular devotee has in a particular rasa? And then he goes on to describe that this particular ruchi was acquired in a particular life by the association of a sadhu. That ruchi came into the consciousness of an aspirant, and over the course of so many lifetimes, like in the verse, Prattanaka adunki chasti yatsad bhakti vasana. The taste that we're experiencing in the heart, right, is a combination of Praktanak means previous samskars or impressions, vasan, and current aduniki vasan means impressions we're gathering in this life. They are affecting the growth of a particular kind of ruchi, which was a seed at one point, and has grown to, according to the maturation of the devotee, Adhikar devotee, has grown to a certain level in which that ruchi now is exercising its dominance. At the time the devotee is mature, because it is not an accident, just like karma is not an accident. Kamana Divanana trainer Jantra Deopapatye, Street Uttapravesta, Pumsam Rekta Kanarsaya. The particular body you're born into, what family you're born in, that's not accidental. That's all the influence of material impressions in the form of karma. Similarly, who you meet that becomes Sadguru for you, this is also not accident. What associations you have is not accident. It's being guided by the previous bhakti samskars that you had. When those samskars become mature, you take initiation. At the time you take initiation, then indication of your sambandha gyan, as I spoke earlier, is given. If you yourself, in that particular life, have reached the level of maturation, you can immediately pick up on resonance with that sambandha gyan, practicing with that sambandha gyan. The ruchi that was present in your consciousness then begins to blossom. And when you come to the stage of nishta, which is ata ruchi bhajan vishai, will be ruchi in bhajan itself. But when you come into the stage of ashakti, that ruchi becomes the abbas of a particular associate who has your mood. This is explained by Jiva Goswami and Bhakti Sandarbha, maybe Anuchad 308 or something. Tasha Tadrisa Surakaraka Basa Sumala Sita Ridoes Patikomani Sastrari Shuteshu Tadrisa Rakatmakaya Bhakti Paribhakti Shu Api Ruchi Jayate. This shlok. That a particular mood comes as Sudakaraka Abbas. A mood, an abbas of that mood comes on the chitta. At that time it becomes clear, fixed. This is my mood, and it only awaits for the descent fully of Swarup Shakti to fully crystallize that mood. So the mood essentially comes from Swarup Shakti. The ruchi embedded by a sadhu in a particular life is now grown and becomes one with that Swarup Shakti. Avibhuya manovrito avrajayate swarupatam swayam prakasharupopi vasamana prakashavat. This is written 3 or 4 verses after the verse quoting what is Baal. Sudha Sattva Viseshatma Prem Suyaksa Samyabhak Ruchi Bis. So Ruchi Bis, Chitta Masuranya, it melts the Chitta completely. That Ruchi, which was there over the course of lifetimes, that Ruchi Bis, Chitta Masuranya, it melts the Chitta and produces the effect of the desire for the association of Bhagavan, favorable service to Bhagavan, and so Haridabhilas means the desire for intimacy, Vishramba Seva. So all of this comes about from the growth of that seed of Ruchi. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary on that verse, speaks to this effect, that was given by a Vaishnava in a particular life. That's why I'm quoting it. right? There's many perspectives on this. I'm not going down the whole unfoldment of Sarupa the Jiva and all these things. I'm simply quoting to you what was there in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's writing regarding this and how that perfection comes about. Right? So I will end here. On this Sunday, the 6th of August, I will not have a morning Zoom class, which is always arranged by Srimati Parvati Didi. She normally arranges the Zoom on Sundays, but in the morning Sunday, the 10:30 class will not have. Later on in the afternoon, there is a special class which is arranged for certain devotees who are newer devotees who are coming on the path. So there was a class for them, not really a class, but like Ishtagoshti for them. But there won't be a morning 10:30 Zoom class, but I will speak at our Gurudev's temple here, Radha Govinda Mandir, at I think 11 o'clock. Bhajan started 10 o'clock. And also it was requested in the post that devotees who can should first of all come on time if you can, but also especially to give any hand to the sevaks at the temple. So it'd be very important to try to come and also be able to give some assistance there. So I will speak at the temple on Sunday by the mercy of Shri Guru, Srila Gurudev, and then I'll have to come back here, of course, quickly to get ready for the class at 2 o'clock. All right, my Dandavat Pranam devotees, Panchakalpaturubhishcha Kripa Sindhuvevacha, Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Jai Radhe Radhe.